record. What is up, guys? Welcome to our second podcast of D. Haynes and Doc Fantasy Sports Podcast. We're here doing the NBA for the second time now. Newport, where do you want to lead us into this segment?
See, I'm excited because I actually like fantasy basketball the most. We were talking about this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about fantasy basketball just because you get action every single day. Every day you have someone to put in, someone to get you a lot of points, someone to break your heart. So it's fun. So this show we're gonna get you some fantasy sleepers, some starts, some benchums. We'll do a quick injury report, nothing too deep. And then we'll go into a little bit about teams we think are streaming right now, doing well, doing bad, kind of stuff like that. So we will start off with fantasy sleepers, and I'll just go ahead and jump right in.
There you go.
One of my favorite players in the league, who hasn't always done great in the past, but the team this year looks like they're picking up speed quickly. And if you watch their games this week, they played amazing, better than top two, top three team is how they played this week. And I'm talking about the New York Knicks. One of my favorite players being R.J. Barrett.
Oh
So
yeah.
R.J. comes from Duke, had a great career. Ever since being in the league, he's kind of just taken this back seat. Some other players on his team have scored the most, with Julius Randle being the top option. He hasn't risen to stardom yet. And so he's on a lot of people's benches. He's in some people's waivers, but I believe he's worth picking up. If you watched how they played this week, they were crazy from behind the arc, just insane. And RJ Barrett was the guy that was always open in the corners. So his opportunities to shoot and the opportunities to spread have been increased recently. He's shooting 22.3 points per game with 3 assists, and he's shooting almost 50% from three. So he's doing great in a team that's honestly on the up and up, and I hope the Knicks do well.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
a new Knicks fan, but man, I'm into it. I love it. I love watching them do well. I think they have a fun team. Jalen Brunson, Isaiah quickly coming off the bench, Julius Randle, Big Robinson sitting in the middle. They're a fun team. I mean, they're one of my favorite teams to watch, honestly. I don't think they should win, but by God, if they do, it'll kill things.
Big Knicks guy. Big Knicks guy.
Big Knicks guy.
All right. My first sleeper. I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. What's can you give me his first name? I don't want to say it.
I mean, my best guess is Lugentz.
That's what I was thinking too, but I don't want to. I don't know. All right, we'll go with Dort. Everyone knows him as Dort because that's how I know him. That's just how it is. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, he was later in last year. He was kind of getting up there in fantasy value. This year now he is increasing his value once more. I believe I think he has like 281 fantasy points so far this season, which is pretty decent right now. I mean, his last game had 31 fantasy points, 37, 42, 42. I mean, this guy is on a tear right now, averaging 14 points per game, and plays well enough time to get more fantasy points. Plays 30 minutes a game as well. So this is the guy that's I feel like is coming up into the Thunder organization, and it's going to help them win a few games.
Yeah, and actually, I think that's a good jumping off point to just kind of throw in one of my benchums. I know we normally go,
Yeah.
pretty standard here, but this goes hand in hand. I think you should put Josh Giddey on the bench, at least right now. That OKC team has some new rising talent with
Oh
Dort
yes.
being there. He's taking some of those shots away. And when Shea's healthy. And for some reason, Giddey's not getting the points. He's got a good talent. He played well last year. Looked like he was going to be doing well this year. Had a pretty good average draft position when it came to draft day, but he's not showing up. He's
Mm.
getting teens, 20s fantasy points and only shooting low teens, like in the eight for points in general. So it's tough to watch for a decent OKC team. But for right now, fantasy wise, I think Giddy could be on the bench if you have one of those 11 game days. Like tomorrow, Sunday, there's 11 games. So I know you have a lot of fantasy options. If you have to pick between him and someone else, I would put Giddy on the bench and put uh, one of our other sleepers or our must starts on there as well. So um, that was a good jumping off point for that bench. But we'll just move on to my next sleeper. And that goes into one of my favorite picks. And this was one of my favorite picks before the season. I knew this guy was going to be great for a team that also I am interested in because of where I did school, Buzz City.
Bus City.
Yes, the Hornets. Love the Hornets because of LaMelo Ball. Love LaMelo Ball. Always have. Watching him in high school, I just love him. I think he's fun. Now his brother, not so much, but LaMelo Ball is definitely the best Ball brothers. But that's not who my sleeper is. My sleeper is Mr. Mark Williams. So the 7 footer sitting there at center. Before the season, I knew he had little competition for the center spot. Being a 7 footer from Duke, he had a lot of upside, and he was going past 100 on average on ADP on draft night. Just ridiculous.
Mm.
He's fantastic. He's scoring 15 points a game on a very talented Hornets team. He's still getting an assist thrown in there, and he's shooting 72% from the field. His fantasy points are just going up and up and up, and it's consistent. So if you have Mark Williams on the bench on 11 game days, such as tomorrow, don't do it. Put him in.
Absolutely. One of my sleepers will lead into mine now is Marcus Sasser from the Detroit Pistons. With Ivy going down with some illnesses, he's been given a bigger role now into the system. I mean, he's only playing about 21 minutes per game right now, but I see with his production on how he's doing with the team that it might increase, especially with Ivy being out for a couple. Actually, he's been out for about a week now, just about a week, and it's allowing him to gain more exposure into the offense. And I mean, he's averaging 10 points, almost 11 points per game already in this short amount of time. But yeah, I mean, he's one that's kind of up and down recently. Because I mean, 14 fancy points last game, but 42 the one before that, 15, and then 43. So I mean, he's kind of a hit and miss on certain days, but if you need someone in your leagues because of all these injuries right now, this is a good one to add.
Yeah. With the Pistons, I am the most surprised by them. I don't know if you are or not. I don't know if you've watched any of their games. They have an unhealthy team right now. A lot of people are out,
Mm-hmm.
and rookies are stepping up, and
Mm-hmm.
people that should not be stepping up are stepping up. They have Asur Thompson is a fantasy god right
Oh
now
yeah.
for someone who
Oh
no one
yeah.
expected, and he's on your team. And you have Sasser, you have with Ivy being out, you have Cade Cunningham in his
Yep.
sophomore year, really his
Yep.
rookie year, but sophomore year due to injury. They're great. They have a
Hayes
ton of
too.
talent. Yeah,
Yep.
they're deep. They're a deep team. They're scary. They're scary good, and I don't think anyone expected the Pistons to be there
No.
um, at this point, at
No.
least.
Let's just see if they can hold on to it.
Yeah. With that being said, that'll move into my third sleeper, and that's Jalen Johnson. Definitely did not expect this. I don't know about you, but
No, but
small forward for the
I'll pick him up.
Hawks. Yeah, you did pick him up. Small forward for the Hawks. He's got ridiculous points, ridiculous games in the 40s, 30s, 50s, a couple in the 50s. Like, he shouldn't be putting up these numbers,
No.
but he is. So for right now, grab him. Who knows if it'll last? Again, Duke product. I feel like most of the people I talk about are from Duke, but that's okay.
All three.
Actually, all
Yeah.
three of
Three
my
for three.
sleepers
Three for
were,
three.
yeah,
Yeah.
all three were from Duke. That's fine. Duke fan, if you don't know. But no, he's doing great, and I'm surprised by his talent. I think he's doing great for a team that does not spread the ball very well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of trouble in the locker room as well with their point guard. Once all of that gets cleared up, I think I actually if Trey Young gets moved, I think Jalen Johnson is going to be the lead in that team,
Oh
and
yeah.
that'll be
I can see
very
that.
scary. So
Absolutely.
I kind of hope Trey gets moved to a team that sucks, and Jalen Johnson can just go off at that point. So
Do you think he will get moved?
I know last year that was the intent. However, trade deadline came and went, and he was still on the team, and I know it caused a lot of trouble. So
Yeah.
I was expecting something in the offseason, but nothing happened. Um, I hope he gets moved.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, my last one, my last sleeper. This is kind of for bigger leagues out there. If you have smaller leagues, then this guy is kind of a little irrelevant, as he's only rostered 4% in leagues. So it's a hit and miss for this guy for sure. But with, like I said, injuries before with the last one and more injuries with this one, people are stepping up. I mean, he doesn't average a lot of points per game, but he averaged a decent amount of fantasy points as of late. He's playing 22 minutes, and he's had 25 fantasy points, 24 fantasy points. I mean, and these are the last two games that he's finally gained these minutes within the system. So look for a lot of production out of him with a lot of these injuries still happening. But like I said, if you're in smaller leagues, don't worry about this guy. It's fine. Bigger leagues, if you need someone for a few games, this is a good pickup.
Yeah, and I think he's a good option because that team they started 2-7, something like that,
Yeah.
and just kind of hit the reset button. And they were like, we got to figure out, we just got to move people around, see what works.
Yep.
So,
Sometimes you got to
um,
do that.
and I think he's running with it. So that moves us into our must starts for this upcoming week. And my first one emphatically is Bradley Beal. Super happy to see him get on the court finally. I have him on my team. He's been on my bench, just hurt. Was looking forward to it for a long time. Grayson Allen, another Duke guy, has been just benefiting from Beal being out, from Booker being out. He's been getting, I think, 16 points a game while they've been out.
Yep.
Doing great. Thank you for holding the seat down. I appreciate it, Grayson. Because Bradley Beal's back, baby, and it's
Oh yeah.
time. It's
Oh
time.
yeah.
Everyone thought he was going to be on a minutes restriction the first couple games, and he slowly got back up, but now he's pumping. He's making almost every single shot. The other night we were gaming on your stream, and I was watching the game on the other screen, and he was just sinking shots every single minute. It was getting ridiculous.
Mm.
He'd get fouled and one, foul and one. He's a stud, and he's surrounded by studs. And right now, especially with Booker being out, he's at his peak time. So
Oh
put
yeah.
him in
Oh yeah.
because he is the second option behind Kevin Durant. And most of the time, Kevin Durant can't stay on the court for very long, so he becomes first option. So
Facts.
put
Love the
him
man to
in.
death, but facts.
Yeah.
All right, my must start, my number one, Gordon Hayward. I am so happy I picked him up. This man's on a tear right now. 332 fantasy points right now, total for the year. 33 minutes per game, averaging about 19 points per game. This man last night at Washington got me 69 fantasy points. Beautiful. 27-point game. Before that, 37, 35, 45, 39, 40. This man it is a fantasy god right now, and I'm loving it. If you have him, great. If you're in a big league and somehow he is still out there, please, oh please get him, because he's only rostered 63.8% in fantasy leagues right now. Go pick up this man. I promise you, he's going to give you a good amount of points. So I'm holding strong. Buzz City. Let's go, Indiana boy. Indiana boy.
There you go. That moves into my second start. Guy I'm super surprised of. Okay. So the Lakers the last couple of years have struggled at the point guard position. It seems like they just don't have that guy that can dish the ball around like LeBron needs it, and LeBron has to do more than he was ever put on that team to do.
Mm-hmm.
This year, surprisingly, um, um, gosh, I'm talking again, talking like this is Lakers. I'm sorry. Moving on. I was gonna put him on here. Actually, we're talking about a different guy. Uh, one of my favorite streaming teams right now, outside of the New York Knicks, is the Toronto Raptors.
There you go.
The lead guy for the Raptors, Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder surprised the hell out of me. I don't know how you feel about him, but he is
Same.
averaging 39 fantasy points.
Yeah,
Dennis Schroeder, extremely surprised by that.
17 points a game. That's crazy.
His last couple games, 57, 32, 48, 39. just on a tear, scoring 20s, high teens, point wise, and has 8.4 assists per game. It's incredible. No one expected it, and I think the Raptors are a sleepy good team.
I would agree with that. I would agree. All right, for my second one, must start Evan Mobley, big old center. Had him last year. Unfortunately, don't have him this year. But this man is a must start. He is a double machine, averaging about 16 points per game and about 11 rebounds a game. So when you have that, it's great for fantasy value, especially if he's shooting right beside the hoop, and a lot more makes are going in that fact. But I mean, he's averaging about 40 fantasy points a game right now. So somehow, if this is still available, or make a good trade because Evan Mobley is one of the top centers I think in the league right now. Power forward / center, I'll say. I guess he does both. So
very true. Yeah, so that'll move into the Laker point guard, D'Angelo Russell. Just got him out of order. Want to talk about D'Angelo Russell. He is rostered in our league. He's getting 35 points per game. He's given the assists needed. He's moving it around well. Thank God, because he's been on 100 different teams in his career, been up and down, but he's doing well this year. His position rank is 7 in point guards, so he's doing great. And I don't know if the Lakers have what it takes. I saw something that said that AD probably needs to get moved for them to win, and right now is the best time because you can sell super high for AD, and I do believe that it is time to do so. D'Angelo Russell's great for fantasy. However, I don't think he's going to win them championships. So must start for fantasy right now, currently with LeBron and AD on the court. Without any of them, not so much.
100%. Yeah, I would agree with that. All right, my last stardom, Desmond Bane. This man is on a tear right now, guys. He's averaging about 26 points a game. He has 425 fantasy value points already. I mean, this dude's averaging 48 fantasy points, third ranked in his position in shooting guards, which is a great category to have. 69 fantasy points last night, 29, 48, 79, 23, 59. I mean, dude is unreal right now, and unfortunately I don't have him. I wish I did. I knew I had him last year, but he wasn't doing this well last year, so he's on a different tear, especially with Morant suspended. So it's kind of his team right now, and he's making good good sense with it. So yeah, this guy is a must start, and if somehow you can trade for him, trade for him.
Yeah, for sure. And that moves us directly into our benchums, and these are the guys that are just bums, guys that are disappointing, guys that put on the bench and ride it for 11 game days, such as tomorrow. So tomorrow, Sunday, pay attention to these people, put them on your bench. You got anyone better, put them in. And I am starting with someone I'm super frustrated with that I got at the back end of our draft, someone that I was excited to come to Indiana.
Yep.
Excited to play because of his ability to shoot threes, and this year just upset with it. Buddy Hield is a great 3-point shooter, great scorer, great guy, sucks at fantasy this year. They brought in a lot of young talent, and for some reason Buddy Hield is sitting behind them, and they're not giving him the shot. They're not giving him open looks. He's one of the best shooters on the team that doesn't have a lot of great shooters. Miles Turner's not a great shooter. Tyrese Halliburton is not a great shooter. He's a slasher. He's a driver. Great for fantasy. But Buddy Hield is riding the bench. He's getting 20 minutes a game.
Yeah.
He's not playing. And he's getting 10 points a game. Like, it's horrible. I dropped him. I picked up RJ Barrett. Big Knicks guy. So put him on your bench. Drop him for better players. Big Knicks guy.
All right, my first benchum is DeAndre Hunter from the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this man, his first couple weeks was good. He actually was on a hot streak. But now, with Jalen Johnson and Bey in there doing work and doing what they do best, it's kind of hard for this man to get any production going right now. I mean, fantasy value, I mean, I'll just say this: he had 5 fantasy points, 16 fantasy points. Oh, sorry, my bad. He has 16 fantasy points last time, 1 fantasy point the time before that, 10 fantasy points the time for that. Yeah, with playing 30 minutes in a game and only getting that much fantasy points, you're no bum, bum,
Bum, bum,
bench him
bum.
because right now, bum.
There's better options out there.
Yep.
So I'll move into my second one, and if you do remember, I did talk about my third bench'em already. So the
Yep.
next two for you'll run through.
Yep.
But I'll go into my second one, which is Tyus Jones. So Tyus Jones on draft night, if you remember, his ADP was 66. So very early on guy. Washington Wizards on a team that needs scoring. They basically have two guys even doing anything, and they go by the name of Poole and what's that guy's name from the Lakers? It's the Wizards guy.
Oh, I can't pronounce this freaking name.
Kuzma, Kyle Kuzma.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of
The
wrong
only
one.
two
Okay,
guys.
yeah.
Tyus Jones was supposed to fill that point guard position and just dish constantly to these guys and let Poole shoot, let Kuzma do his thing. He's getting 5 assists a game at a point guard position on a team that is struggling.
Yep.
He's getting 27 fantasy points average, but that is front loaded. So he's getting 15 points, 17 points, 14 points, just dropping off the end, barely scoring. 2 games ago on the 8th, he scored 2 points total. It's just horrible. It's sad for a guy in the 66 ADP. Drop him. I don't see anything getting better. I wouldn't even bench him. I would drop him. And there's so much better players in his position, let alone every other position right now. And there's a lot of people scoring in the 30s, 40s currently that are streaming. Go pick them up.
Yep. All right, I'll do my last two since that was all yours now.
Yep.
Spencer Dinwiddie, bum, bench him. He was all right last season. I'd say mediocre, but this year he started off decently strong, but now he is kind of he hit the bum status. Okay, I'll just say that. He had 21 fantasy points last game. Yeah, bum. 11 fantasy points before that. 11 again before that. This dude is just getting outplayed right now by his own teammate Dennis Smith Jr. And he's starting to take over the ranks over Dinwiddie. So he's getting more of that playing time now than Dinwiddie is. So that's one that you need to bench for sure. And my last one, I like this guy in the Nuggets last year. Comes over to the Pacers, and I'm like, okay, I'm all right with this, right? Bruce Brown. Had a decent game last time, I will say. He had 40 fantasy points. Not too bad, okay? But that's because he had 9 rebounds. He normally don't have 9 rebounds. He only averages like 4. So before that, he had 19 fantasy points, 20 fantasy points, 20 again before that. So this man is not... I don't think he's fitting in with the system currently. I think it'll be a little bit more time to get used to that system. I mean, he's still playing 31 minutes in this game now, as well as him being on the Nuggets. He never truly had a true big role, other than kind of like that 6-man. But with the Pacers, I think he's trying to get more interacting, get more shots up. It's what it looks like, but it's just not falling right now. But right now, bench him, but still kind of keep him in the back of your mind, especially in bigger leagues towards the middle of the year, just to see if maybe he's kind of sparked up a little bit. But right now, just bench him because that's where he needs to be.
Yep, and that moves us directly into the injury report for the NBA section we call The Doc Will See You Now. I'm Doc, and we will see you now. The injury report for the NBA right now, some notables: Ben Simmons, Cam Thomas out for the Nets. Lonzo Ball never coming back. Good Lord, good luck. Chicago Bulls, being a Bulls fan myself from very young, that's just sad. I don't know if he'll ever play again. For the Pistons, like we said, pretty hurt team right now. Jalen Duren, their rising center, out. Jaden Ivey, Joe Harris, Bojan Bogdanovic, all out for that team. Houston Rockets, Oladipo still out. Moving down, we have Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero out, which you just dropped Tyler Hero on your team.
I did. He'll be
because
out
of
for a lot.
his
Yep.
his 2 week status from his grade 2 ankle sprain. Damian Lillard's still out for the Bucks. Big one there. Calf just won't play Saturday against Orlando. They'll look at it again. Coming up, CJ McCollum's still out from that collapsed lung, and there's a couple people on that team benefiting due to that injury. For the Magic, we have Markelle Fultz still out, Wendell Carter out. 76ers, Patrick Beverly out. 76ers, great team to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Great team to watch right now. Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal says day to day, it's going to be probable. Put him in. If he's in, he's in. Start him. Eric Gordon, day to day, bum. Devin Booker still out. Scoot Henderson out for the Blazers. Means nothing for the team because he's done nothing for the team. Anthony Simmons out, had the thumb surgery. And then last big notable is De'Aaron Fox still will not play Friday's game against the Thunder. And if you remember Zion Williamson being out a couple days, it was for personal reasons, and they still have not said why he was out. So Zion Williamson weirdly out, waiting to see more about that. Yeah, so that probably moves us into this last little section where we just talk about which teams we feel are on the up and up and which teams are on the down and down.
76ers.
76ers, great team right now. Tyrese Maxey.
Hottest team right now.
Tyrese Maxey, crazy fantasy points. Just through the roof. Value for his ADP, one of the best players.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're on a 7-game win streak. They started 0-1. Now they're 7-1. Hottest team in the NBA right now.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, one of my favorite teams is the Dallas Mavericks.
I was about to say that, yep.
You know I love the Mavericks, but Luka is just dropping teams, man. He's crazy. They have, when Lively's in, they do way better as well. Way better. Mavs, fun team to watch. What do you have to say?
I mean, hook shot from the 3?
Right.
Dude, I got to pinch myself sometimes. I don't think that man's human. And to think he's only, how old is he? Like, what, 23, 24?
Something like that.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, Mavericks, I think, are one of my favorite teams to watch as well. Behind also I want to say behind, but I also like watching the Spurs this year just because of Wembanyama, but they're on a 4-game losing streak right now. But we'll see if they can progress a little bit, but with Wembanyama not being on the court, they're the worst offense in the league.
Yeah,
stats were proven.
You can't talk about the best teams without talking about the Nuggets. Chances are Vegas puts them as the top, and that's just how it's going to be the rest of the season. They're almost unbeatable with Jokic, and I hope someday that Jokic and Luka can play together. It's going to be one of the greatest dynasties that ever lived.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
But no, yeah, and one team I was kind of surprised to see kind of how they're doing. I know it's early in the year, way early in the year, but the Pacers, they're third in the East right now, 6-3.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're on a 3-game winning streak as well, and it's kind of cool seeing how I used to be a Pacers fan growing up way back in the day. Yeah, it's good to see them kind of back up a little bit.
I always root for the Pacers, unless they're playing a team that I absolutely love and is streaming. I always root for the Pacers, just being from Indiana.
Yep.
One team I do want to talk about too, Memphis Grizzlies, 1-8. Granted, Mr. Shoot 'em up thug, he is coming back after a 25-game suspension, 25, 20, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so he will be back in the league soon, and that will help that team tremendously. And his fantasy value is going to be through the roof because they're looking for that person to run the court and spread things out a little bit, because right now they're just being dominated. So
Yep. One more team I'd like to talk about as well is the Houston Rockets at 5-3. They're on a 5-game win streak right now, so they started 0-3 and now 5-3. I mean, that's a pretty good turnaround. I seen they destroyed the Lakers the other day. I think it was like 128 to like 94 or something like that. And then, I mean, Jalen Green's showing up now, and they got Van Vliet down there now as well. So they're trying to put some puzzle pieces together down there, and we'll see if that stays, there or if they start drowning. But so far, yeah, it's a good beginning of the year. Seeing some of these teams that are normally mediocre kind of come out hot.
for sure. Well, I believe that's all we have.
That is it, guys. We will be back. Would be Tuesday night.
Yep.
For our waiver wire for
Mhm.
NFL, right? Yep.
Absolutely.
So we'll see you guys Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Other than that, that is all we got. See you guys.
Deuces.